Hey guys, Max 92 and welcome back to another tryout. Today's tryout is on
JoJo no Kimyō na Bōken, Eyes of Heaven.
Now before I get into any of that, spoilers, just for all of it. For all of it, the whole thing. All 8 parts. The footage will especially spoil bits from part 3, but just all of it. Spoilers. Now, the reason I'm here playing this is because over the last year or so, maybe less than a year, since at least the beginning of this year, I have been getting into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at the recommendation of a friend, and I watched the anime first. I started there, got through the anime, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait for Part 6 anime to be finished, and I'll continue from there. But I kept seeing bits and pieces from this video game, this specific video game, and I'm like, what does that mean? What is that? What's going on? And doing a little bit of research, trying not to spoiler myself, I find that, okay, a lot of this stuff comes from Part 6. So I'll read Part 6. So I read everything up to Part 6, up through Part 6. I'm like, okay, alright. Then I sit down one day after I bought this, and I do my recording period of like an hour that I usually do for these, and realize in the process that, oh, this also has elements from Part 7. So I've read Part 7 now also in its entirety. I've read all 7 parts of 7 of the 8 parts of JoJo in the last couple months. Maybe the last month? I don't remember. And I've since also played like 3 more hours of the game. I finished in my recording that I did. I finished the first chapter of the story mode, and I have since finished the second and third chapters of the story mode. So I am further than I was, so I have a little bit more experience with the game, and it's just like, this game was so intriguing to me. Just the little bits of the plot that I found were so intriguing to me that I'm like, I guess I just have to read all of it. I just gotta read the entirety of JoJo. Because I even probably should read some of Part 8, since this came out in 2017, which was like 6 years into the 10-year run of JoJolion. So like, maybe I should probably also read some of that before I get to the JoJolion parts of the game, so that I'm not spoiling myself on any of that. But yeah, it's just like, okay, the story was that compelling. We'll say that. And if I remember correctly, the story was either somewhat written by, or at least overseen by, the original author of the manga, Hirohiko Araki. So like, it's not like canon, but it has been overseen by the original author in a way that people would consider it more canon than some of the other spin-off media that exists. That is besides the point. We're talking about Eyes of Heaven. So this is not your traditional style of fighting game. This is like I don't know what the exact term of it is. I think it's like arena fighter. You're basically controlling it in like a third-person action game sort of way, like a hack and slash sort of way. And you're in duos. It's 2v2. So you control one and the AI controls the other. Then you're against a pair, usually, of enemies. And it's strange, I think, personally. I've played a variety of fighting games, and I found this, it took me a little bit to get used to, and I don't think playing story mode helped any of that, because of how the progression through story mode strips down your abilities, and often you will start with a character only having like one of its attacks, because how the system works is you have 2 normal attack buttons, your square and your triangle, and then you have your X is a jump, your circle, which is a dodge. But then if you hold down R1, you get a contextual list that you can also hit other buttons and get a different attack, a special attack of some kind. And a lot of those in the story mode are locked for the characters until you progress their little skill trees. And I think that makes it feel really weird to play, knowing that it's like, there's all this stuff here that I just don't have, and I don't like know what it is, and you can't really incorporate it in. So like, there's something about it that just feels a bit, just weird to figure out. And I think you might want to go do a couple free battle matches to get a hang of it after learning the basics through like a tutorial. You might want to then go to free battle and check that out, which is what I did in my playthrough. I finished chapter 1 and then I did a couple free battle matches because I was like, okay, I need to play around with this in a more open environment to see how I feel about it. And I'm still mixed on it. It's not terrible. It's just sort of like, I'm still mixed on it. That's weird because I played a lot of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which has like a similar style, but I think it being Dragon Ball and the movement of Dragon Ball being wild helps with this style of system, whereas in Eyes of Heaven, you're just kind of walking towards your enemies, and there's been I don't think there's a run function, and so there's just been situations where I'm just sort of like strolling after someone who's just walking away from me, and they're not quite within range for me to hit them. So it's just a bit finicky, but I do think like once you get the hang of it, it's interesting, and the wealth of playable characters really helps with, you know, finding something that fits with how you play and the way that there's a lot of different playable characters that play differently. I've not played that many of them yet. I've maybe played like 10-ish of them. I don't remember exactly. There's like 50 something, I think. And I've seen a handful of them as enemies in the story mode. So like I know that there are ones who you control their stand more directly and stuff like that. So there's characters with interesting mechanics, and I think that's cool because it really sets each character apart, and you have a way to find a playstyle that fits you better within a sort of odd system. But I've so far generally liked it, again, despite some of my critiques with how the gameplay can feel odd. I think it's good enough, and the story is interesting enough as a fan to want to like see where it goes. My biggest negative actually isn't even game related. It's more that just the menu navigation can be absolutely ridiculously slow, and I don't know why it's that slow. And it's something to where it's like I don't even want to deal with it, because like you unlock either through purchasing them in the shop with points you earn from playing the game, or by doing things in the story mode, like getting S ranks or completing specific challenges. You get different cosmetic items, and you know, going to that menu, the customized menu, and doing any of that is like absolutely ridiculously slow. Like if you're customizing things, you can just use R1, L1 to swipe through the characters. But if you accidentally hit back, it takes seconds to get to the previous menu for some reason. Like, why is it taking this long to just pull up a pop-up list of all of the characters that I don't really want to go back to anyway? And then like in those customization menus, there are customizations for the characters that change their color palettes and even some of their costumes. And that menu doesn't feature a way to preview any of that. So it's like, okay, I'm setting Jotaro to costume D, color B, but I don't know what that looks like unless I like go to the model viewer and check, which is so weird. Like, and I come across, and I think part of this is that I think, if I remember correctly, this game also came out on the PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 3 games have some stupid menus that I remember some of those PlayStation 3 game menus, and some of them are just dumb. And so I think part of it's just that it was also for PlayStation 3, and so it's got to have stupid PlayStation 3 menus for some reason. But I just don't like. It's just the menus are kind of bad, and it doesn't help that like there's characters that say things, and sometimes the character has to finish what they are saying before the menu continues to the next thing. And so it's like, okay, cool, this is like a cool thing, but could you stop speaking so I can navigate the menu, please? I don't know. This is my biggest complaint about the game. Is the menus are not fun to navigate. It's just they're not designed very well.
Oh! Okaeri! Oh! Okaeri! Oh! Okaeri!
All-Star Battle R is coming out. It's part of why I'm doing this video. If everything goes to plan, next week should be a tryout on All-Star Battle R. Hopefully, the menus are good in that one. It is a remake of a PlayStation 3 game, which gives me pause, because those PlayStation 3 menus on some of those games, real bad. But hopefully they have updated the menus as well to make them better, because as far as I can tell, the original All-Star Battle also had alright menus, so maybe this is just an Eyes of Heaven thing for some reason. I don't know. Hopefully they're not bad. That's my takeaway. So anyway, that's what I have to say about the game, and my biggest negative is that it's kind of can be clunky, especially at the beginning, and my biggest negative is the menus. I think it's cool. I'm going to play more of it. I bought it, so that I tend to be more likely to finish games. I say this, I tend to be more likely to finish games that I buy, especially if I bought physical copies of them. This did not have a physical copy released in North America that it did every other region, so I don't know what was that about, but didn't buy a physical copy, just bought digital copy. I'll probably finish it, hopefully here before too long, but anyway, Pass this tryout. I don't think I said that yet. Game Pass this tryout. I liked it. Check it out if you're a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You wouldn't understand it if you're not a fan. So I can't really recommend it for someone who hasn't at least read up to part 7. So, I mean, I guess at least part 6. Probably also should get through part 7. Probably also should read part 8 up through 2017. But, you know, anyone who's not a fan, you're gonna have to go become a fan first if you want to play this. That's really all I gotta say about it. So, anyway, that's the end. Moving on to end bits. Down in the description, find links to all sorts of places: Twitter, Patreon, Bandcamp, Redbubble, etc. Down there, click links. Go there, do what you do there. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. If you want to keep up with this and other shows, subscribe and leave a comment. JoJo fan, yes, no? Have you played All-Star Battle? Are you interested in All-Star Battle R coming out here pretty soon? If this video goes out when I think it goes out, I believe All-Star Battle R comes out on Friday. So, what do you think? Let me know. Leave a comment. Have you played Eyes of Heaven? And yeah, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about all this. Share the video. Do the things. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.